You know the games like Mortal Kombat, Tekken, Street Fighter. For decades, fighting games have provided something that nobody else has. A way to 1v1 your bro or your sis. The first fighting game released in 1976 known as Heavyweight Champ.
Electronic games have come a long way since Pong exploded on the scene a few years ago. Perhaps owing its inspiration to the hit movie Rocky, one of the machines lets 98-pound weaklings play heavyweight champion.
This was the first time that you could actually challenge your friends or your family members to a 1v1 match of catch these motherfucking hands. This marked a huge milestone in the gaming industry. Ever since then, we've had a multitude of games to help celebrate this genre, such as Soul Calibur, Virtua Fighter, Dead or Alive, Smash, King of Fighters, Blaze Blue, Guilty Gear, Tekken, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat. All of these games and dozens of others have been welcomed to grassroots events, starting with B3 Battle of the Bay, which I know wasn't technically the first tournament, but this is the one that changed everything. Later, B3 Battle of the Bay actually evolved into EVO, which we all know is essentially the Super Bowl of fighting games. Here, we're actually able to see the world's strongest competitors competing for a grand prize, which isn't much, and of course the title as the world's best. Now, there's plenty of other tournaments throughout the year, more that I could really name at this point, but to just name a few: Combo Breaker, Defend the North, CEO, Texas Showdown. Even non-tournament events host tournaments for fighting games such as DreamHack, and a lot of cons actually host fighting game tournaments. What's great about these tournaments, as well as a handful of others, is that anybody can enter these. As long as you pay for your entry and you show up, you can play. Throughout the years, we've seen these tournaments develop from inside of hotel rooms to gigantic arenas. In these tournaments, you'll get to see big names such as Sonic Fox, Daigo, Leffen, Tokido, Justin Wong, Arslan Ash, me, and at least 100 more names that you would probably recognize. In the grand scheme of things, these are just a few names that is the pool of the FGC. The FGC spirit really started at its core in the arcade. Kids would leave school just to go to the arcade, spend all of their money on one fighting game just so they can prove that they were the best. And now it's turned into this massive community full of different cultures and backgrounds into one giant melting pot. Are you a furry? We got a place for that. Are you handicapped? We got a place for that. Do you just like pressing buttons? Well, you know damn well we got a place for that. People travel all over the world just to digitally punch each other in the face for money and clout. And it couldn't make me any happier. Now, over the years, the FGC has definitely had its ups and downs. Don't even get me started on Twitter. Prize pools have been a big issue for pro players for a long time. So much so that even a lot of the tournaments were crowdfunded. And now we're seeing the money skyrocket from what it once was. A single player walked away from a Street Fighter 6 tournament with $400,000. As the years go by, the prize is getting better little by little, setting the stage for something bigger and better. These tournaments have been carried by a passionate fan base from the very start. I mean, look at this and tell me you're not insanely hyped. The old generation of fighting game players are still around as the new generation is walking in. Each and every year, we see a new face and a new name on that stage, proving that the FGC has plenty to offer in its future. So much potential that even Riot has dipped their toes into this community. Yes, that Riot, the League of Legends Riot, the Valorant Riot, a development team that has made some of the biggest games we've ever seen with some of the biggest prizes we've ever seen. They're bringing their own version of a fighting game into the community known as Project L. It's a 2D fighting game with a lot to offer. The roster being from League of Legends, so it's already characters that you know, it's an IP that you know. And if you ask any of the players that have experienced this game, they're probably going to tell you it's going to change everything. And you know what? It probably will. If the FGC gets even half of the support that League of Legends got, it's going to change the entire dynamic. We've already seen a lot of streamers and content creators get in the mix of the FGC as of recent. And even before that, legendary streamer Pokimane is actually a co-owner of EVO. Hopefully in the future there will be no more days where you have to money match scrubs just so you can afford the tournament that you already paid to go to. The players might actually have a fighting chance to afford going to these tournaments. I'm super excited to announce this video's sponsor, Techweeb. If you're like me and love deep diving into games, anime, and cutting edge tech, then Techweeb is your all-in-one hub for enthusiasts by enthusiasts. It's not just a website, it's a community for folks who live and breathe this stuff. And a large Discord community for you to join and hang out with other gamer weebs like you. Techweeb brings you the latest in game reviews, anime news, and tech insights. They've got everything from deep dive articles to quick updates that keep you in the know. Plus, their website is super user-friendly, perfect for catching up in between gaming sessions or anime marathons, even on the go. We've all missed the unbiased, honest articles of the past, and Techweeb gives us just that. Real reviews done by real people that have either watched, tested, or played what they review. So check out techweeb.com after the video. The link for the website will be in the description. Now back to the video.
Come on, let me have some fun.
Every so often, we have a new batch of fighting games that mark for a brand new generation for the fighting game community. Street Fighter offers single-player content on a level that we haven't quite seen with fighting games. You have a fully customizable character, goes into an open world environment where you're able to have mentors that are staples of Street Fighter. Mortal Kombat bringing an incredible story and incredible voice acting and writing to a fighting game, which you basically never get. You have Tekken 8 with its Mii characters. I'll be honest with you, they look like old Xbox avatars. At least Tekken brings years of knowledge from each game into their next game. Tekken 7 had every single input from their previous games for all of their characters, and then they added more. Tekken 8 will more than likely carry that tradition over, so the legacy continues. But at the very least, their character design and music are like nothing else. Project L is also going to be bringing something into this environment that we haven't seen for a really long time, outside of maybe like Tekken Tag, I think. But Project L is going to be bringing a 2v2 fighting game where it's two individual players fighting against other two individual players. We don't get to see 2v2 competitive fighting games in this sphere very often, if at all, really. And so because we have such a huge developer bringing that into the atmosphere is going to make a huge ripple into the community, which is a good thing. It used to be that you would buy a fighting game for $60 and essentially just play the arcade mode or play online, and that was it. Now it's being expected that you have a written story, you have well-designed characters, and a well-made game. For more and more single-player content for fighting games, it's opening up doors for a lot of casual players, which could then turn into non-casual players, which is great for everybody. The FGC has survived a lot of changes over the years, whether that be a cease and desist letter, a pandemic, fan-funded and fan-ran tournaments, and each and every time they come back stronger. No other video game genre has really brought to life the anime tournament arc quite like fighting games have. Now that it's getting even more spotlight and more attention, I definitely see it blossoming into something even bigger than I can imagine. Better games, better players, better tournaments. It's an overall win for the esports bubble as a whole. I've never met such a passionate and driven community like the FGC. 90% of the people I've met have just wanted to help me get better at the game. So if you're sitting there looking at the new fighting games, debating on if you should even try it, is it going to be too hard? Don't worry about that. There is plenty of people in the FGC that are more than happy to help you learn the game, or you can just play it casually and attend the tournaments and watch hype-ass fights. Even if you're not into the new fighting games, there there is plenty of people who play the old fighting games. Even the oldest, most unique fighting game you can think of, I guarantee you there is a community for that specific fighting game. You just got to put yourself out there and really ask the community for help. And try not to get ratioed. And don't do what the Smash players do. And don't be toxic like the NRS. Because once you start playing fighting games, no other games really hit the same, if you feel me. Fighting games have always been known to be difficult. But as the old saying goes, well, that's all I have for you guys. Let me know which fighting game you're currently playing or what fighting game that you're most looking forward to. I appreciate you guys watching. Make sure you hit subscribe, like, all the buttons. Okay, goodbye.